some deer track or something.
If he had any sense.
Baby says that she's been seeing
A whole lot of defense on either end.
Bama was already, man, we was expecting.
This dog's been, she's
We
housebred.
didn't win it.
And the lady has a door, she's got the neatest setup, it's like a garden room.
We lost.
And
That was
she's
just
got,
girl Tennessee had the ball
this
last.
side is for her small dogs and this side is for big dogs.
Alabama had the
And the
ball
dog-
last.
She's got little dogs.
How's William doing? Good?
William is doing better, like 85% better. I'm like, okay, did this
good.
go away as fast as it came on? And what was it?
I have been there. Shane looked at it. But it's like two or three of them.
You listening to something?
710. Pews.
Carolyn, did you know about that thing I put in that email?
Oh, yeah.
And the lady on the council didn't even know about it, what the news or said, whoever the representative is, had no idea.
It's amazing how many people say, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so, because it's
Well, look at that.
Right down the street.
Yeah,
It's clinic and.
yeah, right there by Huntington High School.
Everything's like 4 doors down. It's on the same axis.
I've never been offended once when I drove to that.
But it's so funny.
I bet nobody knew, and that was my point, that they do this, same thing that happened to us.
I can't imagine where that other front is. We used to be.
Waffle House, Courtyard Marriott,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we just used to have Sunday nights.
Yeah, we used to love to go there. There in Denny's got so bad at, we'd go to Denny's after church on Thursday and
Last time we were there.
service got so bad out there in Greenwood. You're gonna, you could be there 2 hours, that isn't no fun.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Yeah, you're right. You're all right. Was it a long year?
gonna do is just vote, I'm gonna move to advance to the third, that's when the final action. Come up, you make comments on that too.
So
R
the final
17
vote's
to
gonna be
R
third.
15.
Yeah, everything is official on third. Monday, like the work session, and some cash out things. And then everything you move to Thursday, then it's official.
Thursday I'm gonna be out of town.
But if you like to make it, go get a car and fill it out and make it, you can do that. Go up there. Okay?
Now it's the next one down where I still have to. Here it is, District 11-3. All right, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I missed you.
All right. That ain't that strange. In this business, we take excuse. Yeah. With no other way.
All right, let me find a quorum and we'll get this thing going.
Hey, Mr. Carr, how are you doing? He's got a blue eye, This is his. Linda. That's John David.
All right, I'm trying to get us all settled in.
Well, I know.
Thank you.
Okay. First, you ready? Jeff, you ready? I'd like to call this October 17th Caddo Parish work session to order. It is 3:39. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Young. Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Taliaferro.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Atkins.
Here.
Commissioner Chavez.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Present.
All right. Thank you very much.
And I'm sorry, that is a 8 of 12. That is a quorum, and I believe there are another member or two in the hallways at this point.
Okay, Commissioner Taliaferro, I know I'm catching you off guard, but could you please lead us in the invocation? And Commissioner, let's see, Epperson, would you mind leading us in the pledge? All stand, please.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to come together once again to serve our constituents, the public, our voters, and our bosses. Lord, we ask your many blessings of those less fortunate than ourselves. We ask your many blessings upon those who could not be here because of illness or travels. Lord, we ask your many blessings upon this body, and that we do your will for your kingdom. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's all turn and face the flag. I would ask that all military and all veterans would render the standard hand to brow salute. All others, right hand across your heart. And as we repeat the pledge in unison, let's remember our POWs and our MIAs. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson, for that pledge, and thank you, Commissioner Talaferro, for the invocation. Mr. Clerk, do we have any agenda additions?
I'm not aware of any agenda additions today. I would mention there was one typo on the agenda where there is an item that is item 11.8 is authorizing the consideration of Resolution 44 of 2012 is what it says. That is intended to be 2022. And so just wanted to point that out. But other than that, we do not have any agenda additions at this time.
Okay, thank you. Any citizens' comments? I don't see any cards.
I do have requests now. Bring those to you. Looks like we have 2.
Thank you. Miss Melinda Scheck-Snyder, please come to the front. Miss Scheck-Snyder, did I get it wrong again?
No, you did great.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commission. Thank you for, again, allowing me the opportunity to represent our neighbors and constituents there on the Winter-Weedle west side of Roanoke Lucas Road area. This is regarding a zoning change for case number 2220-P. And y'all did hear from me a couple of weeks ago. I just don't want to completely rehash. I believe you may have received the email that I sent to our Commissioner, Mr. Ken Epperson, just to touch some of our points again, that we are in opposition of this zoning change, even if it's changed from what it was originally requested as. It was originally requested to go completely commercial, I believe C4, and now it's been recommended to a C2. We still oppose this. We would like to see and hope and pray that you would follow the wishes of the citizens who are there and established and have lived there for most of our lives. We are concerned about taxes, drainage, trash, traffic, all of these, again, I spoke with you about a couple of weeks ago. Further acknowledgement, and something that has came to light, I believe, in the last week, if you were to approve this and it were to go to commercial, this is one of our biggest concerns, is that when that happened, if somebody wanted to come into another available part of the property there, they could open a business and we would not have a voice into what would happen. Now, what has happened that I saw in the news last week, the old IHOP at Financial Plaza, right there where it intersects with Pines Road, someone has come in and is opening a adult novelty store. And I believe most of you probably know what an adult novelty store is. So from what I was heard on the news, again, this was on Channel 3 newscast, that even the parish, not parish, but the city council member was not aware of that business going in. That is a big concern if this does change. What will happen to us that we will no longer have a voice if this goes commercial? I do thank you today for allowing me to speak again, and on behalf of our neighbors that are here to represent, we thank you and appreciate your time, Mr. Epperson. We really appreciate your representation.
Thank you for coming down. Appreciate it. Ms. Price, Carolyn Price.
Thank you. Do I need to state my name and address like I did?
No.
Okay. Yeah, well, my name's Carolyn, and I agree with all Melinda's concerns. I live at 7382 Winter-Weedle, and we have 3 properties there on the corner of Floyd Lucas and Winterweedle. It's about 3.5 acres approximately, and it backs up to the wooded area. There's a little bit of a wooded area between the proposed area they're wanting to zone change. But our concerns are, because we are residential, agricultural, we raise organic crops, and we also, some of my family neighbors have animals, and so we are concerned about the traffic, the pollution, the trash that it might generate. We're concerned about the noise. I don't know if there would be noise ordinances, but being a restaurant, it would possibly have night hours, and so that would create more the traffic and noise. And also, I feel like that increased traffic would possibly increase crime. And right now, our area is zero crime. We're just a little country area. And the proposed site, I don't know if anyone has gone out to see it, but it's a very a triangular little strip of property. So it's wide on the front, and then it goes real narrow in the back where it joins into the wooded area behind my house. So I just want to express my opposition to it, and I thank y'all again for letting us come and represent ourselves.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming down. Is that it, Mr. Clerk?
That's the only request that we have at this point. Would you like us to move along?
Yes, please.
All right, the next item on your agenda is visitors, and we have one visitor that's scheduled for today. And I believe we have a representative from Goodwill Industries here today to discuss. It is Disability Employment Awareness Month. Hello. And Lynn Stevens is here today, coming up to the front right now.
Hello, Ms. Stevens.
Hey guys,
Thanks for coming up.
absolutely. So, I'm here just to remind everybody, tomorrow at Goodwill, we're actually having a disability inclusion job fair. We do this every year as part of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Last year, you guys were very grateful. You wrote a proclamation. We were very grateful for that. This year, we didn't do that, but we are still considering going forward with what we normally do, which is the job fair. Disabilities, of course, is something I'm very passionate about. As you can see, I didn't plan to be in a wheelchair, but it happened. Life definitely changed for me about 7 years ago. And I will just tell you, from going from an individual who was walking and gainfully employed to somebody in a wheelchair, I faced a lot of stigmatism, a lot of bias. And I wanted to stay employed. And we know, everybody knows, sitting in this room today, there are so many people that want to work, and there's so many employers that need bodies. These are people we should all consider. And so that's what I'm here to do today, is just to remind people to come on out, let us help you find that job.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
Mr. President?
Yes,
If I
ma'am.
may?
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you. Hi, Lynn. Thank you for coming down. I just wanted to let you know that it is on our agenda today to recognize National Awareness Disability Month. So I just wanted you to know that we do have that resolution on for today.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no one, thank you, Lynn, for coming down. And yes, we are supportive of the initiative. Okay, Mr. Clerk, any other visitors?
That is all we have scheduled for today. So moving along to the next item on your agenda, we have the administrative report, and I believe the administration has also attached the September financials today as well.
Ms. Bryant?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. The administration would like to offer the admin report for October 17th. We'll have the juvenile detention numbers. We have 10 in detention, 4 are 17. We have 8 at CCC. We're pleased to report that we have no COVID cases, no monkeypox cases. And as Jeff mentioned, the September 2022 financial report should be at your stations. That concludes the administration report.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bryant, you said you were happy to report no what? I couldn't quite hear.
No COVID cases and no monkeypox cases.
Okay, great. Thanks. Commissioner Young?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Ms. Bryant. Did I hear you correctly to say that there are only 10 juveniles in our juvenile detention?
There are, but there are some extenuating circumstances for that number.
Okay.
I'll allow Clay to kind of address the low numbers. We are doing some work at the facility right now.
Oh, that's right, I remember.
Right, so
I
we
remember.
did have to
Got it.
close a pod doing that work, so that's
Right.
some of it.
Okay. I had one comment that I wanted to make to you. We had discussed, and Commissioner Gage Watts has discussed quite a few times, the tornado warning sirens. A constituent of mine has just informed me that there is a technology that he has looked up, which is a drone siren that flies around and makes a siren in particular areas. He says they're between $15,000 and $20,000 each, and I think that seemed like something that might be in our price range and might be a good technology for administration to look into. If you would do that for us.
Yes, sir. So our first plan is to have an analysis, a study done to provide us information on the best approach to take if the commission were interested in funding some type of siren. So we will, when we issue the request for proposal, we'll also consider that also when we're looking at the analysis of whether or not to have tornado sirens.
Terrific. My only concern is that the study might be more expensive than the drone sirens put together, so it might be worth looking at them simultaneously.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Young. Commissioner Burrell.
Mr. Chairman, just to mention about COVID, there was an excellent program out there at the State Fair, agriculture building. I think it was put on by our commissioner here, Commissioner Gage Watts. And while I was out there, I got shot up. It caught up on my shots. So they partnered with the, I think, was it LSU? LSU was an excellent program. A lot of people were out there. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no one else on the board, Mr. Clerk, we can continue.
All right, that brings us to commission remarks, communiques, reports, and other items related to the work session agenda.
All right. Any communiques or remarks, please get on the board.
Related to the work session agenda.
Oh, related to the work session. Okay. Commissioner Burrell.
I'll hold on mine.
Okay. Commissioner Gage Watts. Okay. Anyone else have anything related, any communiques related to the work session agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
Okay, that brings us to President's Report. Did you have a President's Report today?
I would just like to make a couple of comments. First of all, I'd like to thank Commissioner Epperson for all of his hard work in getting our Veterans Affairs office, reopening of that office, organizing that event, and encouraging all of us to participate. I'd like to thank all of you all who also were able to attend. There were like 8 out of 12 of us there, which was a really nice attendance for an event like that. So again, thank you, Commissioner Epperson, for your leadership on that. And then I'd like to also mention that on Saturday night, I represented the parish at the Hispanic Month the Hispanic Month. What's the word? Event. Commissioner Chavez was scheduled to attend that event, and I'm sure they were disappointed to see me up there. But Commissioner Chavez was out of commission that night, and I'm glad to see he's back up and running today.
So you're diversifying now.
I am. I'm
Proud of you.
I'm always trying to broaden my horizons. I was a poor replacement for Mario, but we did the best we could. That's all I've got. Mr. Clerk, we can move on.
All right, we have no old business scheduled at the moment, so that brings us to our new business section, where the first item, 11.1, is authorizing the introduction of ordinance number 6261 related to 22-P-CTAP. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, relative to surfacing requirements for parking lots and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Motion to remand to Long Range Planning Committee.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Jackson to advance to the Long Range Planning Committee with a second from Commissioner Burrell. Anyone, would you like to comment on your motion, Commissioner
No, I
Johnson?
was just gonna
Jack?
say, I think, it will help to flesh out some of this. I know this came from the new planning and zoning board that we have, and maybe have Mr. Clark get with that committee, flesh out some of the details, the what's, the how. I know, I'd at least like to see maybe what similar sized communities have taken up these efforts and what have they done, and are we doing it in a manner that's gonna be continuing to encourage business, because we don't want to discourage that industry from growing in our region. So just to give some more due diligence on our end. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. I know that there's been a need in this area. I'm glad to see that the Parish Planning and Zoning Commission is taking the initiative and working through these issues. But we have a motion on the floor to forward this to the Long Range Planning Committee. And we have a motion and a second. I think anyone else on the board, Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, it goes back to what I've always asked for in the past on these ordinances, that we get either bold or underlined, that we know exactly what the change is. I know it talks about truck parking lots, but when you start reading the Article 8 as amended, I mean, you can't tell what was amended. So if we can get that done in the future, I mean, I've asked it every time we have this, to basically get that done so we'll know what's changed. So that when we look at the ordinance, we can look at it and see what the changes is and what's not a change.
Was there not a version? I thought I saw like a version that had blue and red in it.
I'm looking at the first one, and it doesn't have it. Now, you might have something else. Oh, you got this UDC code text amendments. That's in the blue and the red. But I'm talking about the first one as we look at and go down the list. I mean, we shouldn't have to click all the way down to get that. It should be the first one.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Anyone else on the board?
Yeah,
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that this actually did start in Economic Development
I thought
Committee.
so.
The process, because they came and talked to Economic Development, and then from there it went to the Planning Board. So we have kind of moved it the way it should move in a sense. We just need, I agree with Mr. Johnson, we need to see what the changes are so we recognize what's going on.
Right.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to move it to long-range planning. Any other comments? If not, let's have a vote.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and none in opposition. And that brings us to authorizing the introduction of ordinance number 6262 related to 20-20-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the east side of Florida Lucas Road, approximately 650 feet south of Winterweedle Road, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District to C2 Corridor Commercial Zoning District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. This is in District 12.
Recommend moving to Thursday for action.
Second.
We have a motion for Commissioner Epperson, a second from, I'm not sure who the second was, Commissioner Jackson.
We're over here.
Oh, I've done that. All right, any comments, Commissioner Epperson?
No, sir, we'll discuss on Thursday.
Okay. All right, any other, seeing no one else on the board, let's vote please on advancing to Thursday.
That motion carries with 11 in support, 0 in opposition, and 1 absent. The next item is to authorize the introduction of ordinance number 6263 related to 22-21-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located east of Cessna Drive, approximately 1,320 feet south of East Florida Lucas Road, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to R15 Single Family Residential Zoning District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto, and this is in District 9.
I'll make a motion to advance to Thursday.
Second.
Atkins made the motion, a second from Commissioner Young. I will briefly comment that this came through the MPC. Apparently, there's a developer who is looking to expand his development, and his current development is R15, and he'd like to rezone this expansion area into the same zoning of R15. So it shouldn't be any big deal. Anyone else on the board? Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, just for my edification, Attorney Frazier, every time we do a zoning change on a piece of property, will we have to amend? Are we amending the UDC here?
Yes, you have to change the zoning code and map so that it reflects the inclusion of the new piece of property.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Anything else, Commissioner Jackson? Okay, anyone else on the board? Seeing no one, let's vote on whether to advance this to Thursday or not.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. And that brings us to the next item on your agenda, authorizing the introduction of ordinance number 6264 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending and reenacting ordinance number 5111 of 2011, reapportioning Caddo Parish into 12 commission districts, enumerating the constituent precincts, respectively comprising the commission districts, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Move to advance.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson, a second from Commissioner Epperson to advance to Thursday. Any comments?
No.
Commissioner Jackson? Is that old?
No, it's on now. I'm a little confused on how we're moving to introduce this, and we were supposed to be planning some neighborhood meetings. Haven't had a chance to do that. I see where some of my precincts have changed, and that just hasn't been done. I'm fine with the end date of December 31st, but until I thought we agreed that we would have conversations prior to. I have constituents that are occupied right now, and I'm trying to zero in on those dates and get those dates, but I guess I'm just confused on, is there a rush to get this done now? Because what I don't want to have is, I don't want to have a situation similar to what the city of Shreveport is dealing with, where you have folks thinking they're in one area. In fact, I got up until yesterday, you had some folks who were campaigning for City Council District B in Cherokee Park, which is 5B. And folks don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And so I know I wanted to have an opportunity to sit down, one with the demographer, and go over line by line what has changed in my district specifically. I have not had that opportunity. And then to have that conversation with the constituents, one that I represent now, and those that would be either moving in or moving out of the district. And I haven't had an opportunity to do that. And so to see this on the agenda now, I'm not sure how it got there when I thought we all agreed that we would wait to do that. I think by the end of the year is plenty of time to do anything that we need to do, if that's the deadline that we have. But I just think that we've got time to hold on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. May I ask Ms. Bryant to comment on behalf of administration on what the vision is for the timing on this?
I think Attorney Frazier can give a idea of the timeline.
Per the charter, the ordinance has to be passed by the commission by December 31st. Also, per state law, it has to be passed. Otherwise, the districts have to be reapportioned. Otherwise, there are potential malfeasance and office penalties, or potential for the parish not to be able to share in road funds with the state. It's also my understanding, Commissioner, that each of you were individually arranging your meetings with the demographer via the commission clerk. So has that not taken place?
Nope. There have been several prompts for dates, and we have not received final dates yet. It's my hope that maybe introducing this prompts those dates to be forthcoming.
Okay, Commissioner, the administration can work with the commission clerk to still try to schedule whatever outreach each commission would like to have in their district before you actually vote on this ordinance.
Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we'll come back to the administration issues about planning, but let me see what everybody else has to say, and then I'll come back. Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do support the fact that we need to get the community more involved because, as Commissioner Jackson just said, the city, the way they did their redistricting, I'm not sure where they met. I didn't know of any meetings in our area. I only found out a couple of weeks ago that I'm in the District A with the people up in Cooper Road. Now my district has always been G. They jumped across Lake and just picked up a couple of precincts, and mine happened to be one. And I couldn't get anybody to explain, why would they split up the community like that? So there are issues there, and there are people who are concerned in the community as to what area that they will be in and who would possibly be representing them. So yes, I agree that the community needs to get more involved in this, and yes, we're going to have to get on top of it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. I'm going to skip over Attorney Frazier and go to Commissioner Chavez first.
President, just remove me, please.
Okay. Anyone else on the board? Commissioner Jackson, second time?
Yeah, I guess maybe I'd like to have some more clarity because I know that the charter says, or there's a section in the charter that talks about needing to adopt it before that time. But I also want to make sure that it's in proper context as well. And I did talk to Attorney Frazier earlier about what the statute says with regard to revenue sharing and things of that nature. But we don't have an election until November of next year, and so we will have reapportion. We're going through that process, and so I think we have time. We're in the reapportionment process, and so that's not to say that we haven't reapportioned. I'm trying to see when do we have to actually adopt maps and enact new maps. But we're going through the reapportionment process now. The one before, because the last one was the one that they just adopted. But the city council didn't adopt their map until they went a year delayed on their maps being adopted. So I just want to make sure that there's an opportunity to have substantial community input from this community. I'm looking at precincts 32. It looks like it's being split in my district, 39, 98. I don't even know what these precincts are right now. We're all busy. I'm trying to get dates identified, and then that's having to coincide with places and public spaces that are being upgraded and renovated. So you got to get folks in you got to get a critical mass of folks in a large space where they can, you got the maps that are put up so that they can see. And so I just think that we need to slow, I'm not gonna say slow down, but I think we need to give an opportunity for community conversation before we move down this road, because once we're out here, we're out here. And I just thought the agreement from this body was we would have our community meetings first and then move on these particular processes. So I'm a little confused by that.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Commissioner Jackson, I will say that I'm certain there's no one pushing. I don't have a specific date in mind that I'm pushing towards although we obviously need to be diligent about it. But so let me take this as an opportunity to encourage all of us who want to have community meetings who have not yet had them. Let's get those going as soon as possible, because I think we do have a real deadline at December 31. With that being said, I'm going to come back to Commissioner Attorney Frazier to see if she has any additional input on timing and schedules and some of the questions that Commissioner Jackson had.
Yes, sir. On the deadline, your charter specifically states by the end of the year following the year in which the population of Louisiana is reported to the President of the United States for the decennial census, the Parish Commission by ordinance shall, if necessary, alter, change, or rearrange commission district boundaries so as to provide for population equality among the districts as nearly as reasonably practicable. So you have a firm deadline of December 31st via your charter. That states that it has to be done. Via state law, it also states penalties for failure to meet the time for reapportionment by local governing bodies. And unless there's a different period of time for your local government governing bodies specified by the Constitution or a statute. The state law also states that you shall reapportion your voting districts by the end of the year following the year in which the census is reported to the President. So the census was taken in 2020, it was reported in 2021, and this is the year following the year of the report. So December 31st is your deadline by your charter and by the state law. I also too want to, the plan, the demographer, Mr. Floyd, who's here, if you all have questions or may be able to assist now in facilitating some dates at the conclusion of this meeting, has been working on this process since the beginning of the year. And I think the maps had been preliminarily circulated prior to this meeting. So I don't know where the failure in communication is, but you only have 3 regular meetings left to hold your community meetings and get an ordinance passed.
But we do have special meetings we can have.
You can have special meetings, but you don't have any regular meetings set, and we are now about 75 days out from December 31st. So just keep that in mind with your timing.
Well, Attorney Frazier, what if, just a hypothetical example, what if, is it required, how many commissioners are required to pass the redistricting, and what if we don't meet that threshold?
It is 7. I don't believe it's a 2/3 vote.
And what
It's a
happens
majority.
if on our last meeting date, we are deadlocked?
Well, Commissioner, that will take you into the state statute where failure to pass is considered a misfeasance in office and failure to be able to share into those revenue funds.
All right. Thank you very much. Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, Attorney Frazier kind of said what I was gonna say, that we only got 3 meetings left, and we could have a special meeting, but we need to be trying to at least pass it today, advance it today, and maybe delay it until a certain date, and then try to vote on it. Something that has to be done, and if you plan on having a stalemate, we need to be able to have some time to see how somebody's gonna switch over, if that's the case.
Okay.
That's
Good
all I
points.
got.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Let's see, Commissioner Burrell.
Just a point of information, clarity, Mr. Chairman. Since the Supreme Court basically gutted the redistricting process, this did not affect the deadline. This is really based upon our charter and state law.
This is based on your charter and state law with regard to the Supreme Court and the voting rights. If that was still in place, you would have 120 days to submit your plan after voting, but the deadlines would not be changed.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioner Clerk.
I just wanted to mention that I did check with the consultant who's going to be providing his availability, and there are some commissioners who responded to our request to say, that they were interested in a meeting, but we've just yet to be able to lock down a solid date from commissioners of what works for them. So if we could, I'm just wanting to offer an extra hand, and if you have somebody that you want me to coordinate with for you, to help lock down a date, we can work with the consultant to make sure that those dates can get solidified sooner than later, because I just want to make sure that this process can happen timely.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
Never mind.
All right, well, I'd propose that perhaps the commission consider advancing this to Thursday and having another date that we propose to forward this to, that someone could propose on Thursday. But that's just my thought.
Get back in the board. I'll get back on the board.
You're back, Commissioner
I make
Jackson?
a substitute motion to advance this to Thursday and postpone until first meeting in December.
First meeting when?
Or hold a special meeting the first meeting in December.
Yeah, because we only got one regular session in December.
Or a special meeting in December.
Okay, so if I hear Commissioner Jackson correctly, he's proposing that we advance and postpone the final approval until a special meeting is called in
December?
December.
I mean, that gives us the whole month of November, the rest of October, and the whole month. Oh, I guess if I got a second, I can speak to it.
Second.
Okay, you had a second.
So that gives us the whole month, because I had planned, my district is geographically long. I had planned to have at least 2 meetings. And if you have commissioners that have at least more than 1 meeting, some may have 1. I mean, if just half of us, that's 6 meetings, 6 to 8 meetings right there. That gives us the entire month, the rest of October, assuming that we'll be able to get them scheduled for the rest of October and all of November, to come back, put plans together. There may be some plans that people don't like. Like you said, some things may come down here and go 6-6, and we might have to figure out how we're going to break that deadlock. So it gives us an opportunity. And so I think putting it at least somewhere in the first week of December gives us time to take a look at it. But I just think that it's a doable amount of time.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hopkins.
I just wanted to point out that when we introduce this by introduction, we need a date for the public hearing and things like that. So when we're talking about what ifs and could haves, and we don't really have a.
But when I had said the first meeting in December. Or whatever the meeting
We have
is in December.
a special meeting to be called the first meeting, the first week of December is what I heard in the motion.
I originally said the first meeting in December.
Okay, so do you want that?
That's fine. That's fine with me. I don't.
Okay, the motion is the first regular session meeting in December.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Actually, I think we're just clarifying Commissioner Jackson's motion. Commissioner Hopkins, I think you still have the floor. You
Yeah,
done?
I'm through.
And I think, just to be clear, I think Commissioner Hopkins is expressing that, when we advertise the introduction of an ordinance, we set that public hearing date. So we will have to do an additional advertising showing that it's been postponed to that December date. Certainly, point taken on that. Is that what you were alluding to, Commissioner Hopkins?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about having a special meeting in December. That doesn't tell the public anything. We need specific dates and stuff to on Thursday when we introduce by introduction, to print in the newspaper and to put in the different sites, make it available for the public.
Okay.
Which should be addressed by doing it at the regular meeting. I mean, we should be able to do that now. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. I think we're ready to vote on Commissioner Jackson's motion.
All right, and that motion carries with 9 in support, 2 in opposition, and 1 absent.
Mr. Clerk, before we leave this topic, I would like to ask Mr. Floyd if he could come up.
Probably do that before we vote.
Who's inner monologue? Hello, Mr. Floyd. Thank you for coming down. Thank you for being back in Caddo Parish. I just want to clarify, so you have submitted your recommendation to the commission. And your recommendation, that's the only recommendation you're going to make, and you're not going to make a recommendation that would preserve the 5-5 balance that's currently displayed on the commission. Pardon me, 6-6.
Well, when you say that, if a commissioner has a proposal, be more than happy to look at it and review it and see how it is.
But would that then be the commissioner's proposal and not your proposal?
Well, I haven't seen it to know if it's between my goalposts. You know, so if you want to say that I could recommend, I'm open to work with any commissioner, and if it's a plan that's reflective, more than happy to recommend. I don't think it's one plan that could do it.
Okay, I was under the impression from our earlier discussions that if I presented you with the plan, it was going to be my plan and not your plan.
But if it's between my goalposts,
I understand.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen another plan.
Be a plan, another plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be something different, and I'm willing to look at it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, good.
Any other questions for Mr. Floyd while he's up? Commissioner Chavez?
He mentioned if it's between his goalposts, is the will of the commission our goalpost or Mr. Floyd's goalpost? Just want to be clear.
Well, I think, I'll let Mr. Floyd answer that question.
Well, let me just tell you, I've been doing this for 42 years, and I do things what I see as within the law, okay, and that's what I go with. So I'm not saying I'm it, you know, God is that. I'm just saying that when I do a plan, it's not retrogressive or dilutive, and that's my goalpost.
Thanks, President.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, Mr. Floyd, thank you very
Hey,
much.
thank you. Looking forward to working with you.
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us to authorizing the introduction of ordinance number 6265 of 2022, and that is an ordinance to amend Chapter 4, Article 2, Division 3, relative to alcoholic beverage employee handling cards, and to provide for compatibility with City of Shreveport requirements for such cards, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. This is from Commissioner Chavez.
So move to advance to Thursday.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Chavez, a second by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Chavez?
Sure, Commissioners, this is what we've been working on, in economic development. Attorney Bernstein had drafted this. It's to try to keep the laws more synonymous so that employees that teeter between the service industry, both in the city and in the parish, will have an easier time acquiring an ABO, so they can work at a grocery store, work at a bar, work at a restaurant, and it's pretty synonymous across the two. This is going to clean up the language to allow employees easier access for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Hopkins?
I've got two items. One, have we sat down with the sheriff and talked to the sheriff, since he's the one that issues the parish card, and are they aware of us making this change? I can only respond that Attorney Bernstein met with the representative from the sheriff's office. I don't know about the sheriff directly. And then the other issues, I would ask that the changes that are being suggested to be underlined, so we'll know what they are. Because I see the ordinance, but I'm not seeing where any of the changes are, so I need to know that.
For Thursday?
Thank you.
I think we all want to see that from
now on. That's it.
All right. Anything else? Seeing no one on the board, let's vote, please.
Commissioner Jackson?
And that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us to 11.6, which is authorizing the introduction of ordinance number 6266 of 2022. That's an ordinance adopting the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Shreve Memorial Library for the year 2023.
Move to advance to Thursday.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sturman Gage Watts to move to Thursday, a second by Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Gage Watts, any comments?
Yes, I'll yield to finance, but I'm sure this is what we do annually for the Shreve Memorial Library.
Yeah,
If
we
there's
review,
any
we
additional
review, their budget is attached and we review it.
Absolutely.
All right, let's vote to forward or not, please.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and one absent, I'm sorry. And that brings us to the authorization of the introduction of ordinance number 6267 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Oil and Gas Fund to appropriate additional funds for the Remembrance Garden at the Caddo Parish Courthouse and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. From Commissioner Johnson.
Move to delay at this time until the second work session in November.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Johnson to delay until the second work session in November and, in December, wait.
November.
November. Did I say second work session in November? And second by Commissioner Chavez. Would you like to comment?
Well, based upon the long-range meeting we had today with the committee members, looking at the, what's it called?
Treatment.
Yeah, the treatment, that just giving everybody time to read the treatment and to look it over and to see how we can actually get the budget down a little bit more.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing everybody to absorb the treatment. Let's have a vote, please.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and one absent. And that brings us to authorizing the consideration of resolution number 44 of 2022. It's a resolution to urge and request to Caddo
Move
Parish.
to advance to
Second.
Thursday.
I have a motion from Commissioner Johnson to advance, a second from Commissioner Gage Watts to advance to Thursday. Commissioner Johnson?
I think we talked about it enough. I got some more members here today, so gonna try to push it again.
And just to be clear, you're asking the planning board to review and make recommendations. So you're just asking for them to take a look, right?
Right, for them to look at it and based upon our vote, that is something that needs to be done. Because it's an urgent request.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, let's vote, please.
I'm on 44.
What is it?
Mobile homes.
Right, that motion does carry with 7 in support and 4 in opposition to advance that to the Thursday agenda. And there is one absent on that as well, I'm sorry. And that brings us to authorizing consideration of resolution number 47 of 2022. That's a resolution urging and requesting the Louisiana State Legislature to authorize the use of ballot boxes and to extend the early voting period and otherwise providing with respect thereto, from Commissioner Gage Watts.
Move to advance to Thursday.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gage Watts to advance to Thursday, a second from Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Gage Watts?
Yes, Commissioners, this is an additional tool. It took us quite some time to get the early voting satellite location up in, we hope, October 25th for the early voting. This is one of the initiatives, first legislative item that I introduced back in 2015 to provide additional tools for our citizens to have access to voting. So this is simply to urge our Louisiana state legislation to look at this for ballot boxes and extending the early voting times.
Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, President. Since the state legislature doesn't go back into session until next year, I'm assuming this obviously will get passed and then lay over. My only reservation is we finally worked hard enough to get that secondary location, which is awesome. I just don't want to confuse the voters and put out too much information about new early voting sites, ballot boxes. So I'm supportive of this if it goes to the state legislature in 2023. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you. I just wanted to, just a small caveat to that. I agree totally, but the time that it took us to get it here as a larger municipality as we are in Caddo and all of the other larger municipalities had early satellite locations. This is an advanced opportunity to get ahead of it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Anyone else? Seeing no one on the board, let's vote on whether to advance to Thursday or not.
What we doing? Which one is this?
To
Ballot
advance
box.
the one regarding ballot boxes.
Okay.
All right, that motion advances with 7 in support, 4 in opposition, and 1 absent. And that brings us to the authorization of a special resolution honoring Pancho Trejo.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to englobo all the special resolutions, 1110, 1111, 1112, 1113. Commissioner Jefferson, you want to talk on this today or Thursday?
No, Attorney Frazier, point of information, she's getting some more information.
All
We
right.
have a better discussion on Thursday.
So in global 1114, 1115 to Thursday.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Johnson to englobo and advance all the special resolutions plus item 1114 and 1115, pardon me. Yeah, 1114, 1115 to Thursday. Is that correct, Commissioner
Yes.
Johnson? All right, any comments? Seeing none, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. And that brings us.
Mr. Clerk, let me just make a side comment, asking my colleagues. We've got, I think, a couple of people who still want to get on communiques and committee reports, and then there's a new, a late arrival citizens comment that if you all have time, let's please allow that citizen the respect of an audience. Carry on, Commissioner Clerk.
Absolutely, thank you. That brings us to communiques and committee reports.
Anyone on the board? I see Commissioner Johnson. Go ahead, Commissioner Johnson.
Oh, I was going to say if somebody else was on the board to suspend the rules to allow the citizen to come up and then we do communiques.
All right, so we have a motion to suspend we have a motion to suspend the rules to allow that citizen to come up. Motion is by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Epperson. Is that by acclamation? Okay, seeing a lot of nodding heads. We will have our citizen comment by Ms. Ferris.
Mr. Kendrick.
Or sorry, Kendrick Ferris.
And the system just went down.
Mr. Ferris?
He's right over there.
Welcome, Mr. Ferris.
All right, how y'all doing?
Fine, thank you.
All right, let's turn this on. How's everybody doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Doing good.
Yes, indeed. Man, first off, hallelujah for today. Thank y'all for y'all time. We just wanted to have an opportunity just to speak with you all about the rezoning that's going over near Winterweeder. We are the property owners. Again, my name is Kendrick Ferris. Speaking on behalf of my family, this is speaking on behalf of Craven Crocus. It's a family business, what we're starting. And what we're looking to do with the property, since it is a rural agriculture, is to keep it true to that. And if you look at those codes between a rural agriculture and a C2, what you will notice is there are a lot of similarities, but there are some things that you can do with a C2 that you can't do with rural agriculture. For example, community center, community garden, and also like child daycare, things of that nature. So we're only looking at open family businesses. Those are the things that we're interested in, and also growing our food. Our opposition, they mentioned that they grow their food organically. Those are things that we're interested in as well. With my background, I competed in 3 Olympic Games. Thankful to be able to do that. So what we're looking to do is not only open a business here in Shreveport, but to also be able to shine a light here in this area, that Louisiana can be looked at as a positive place, a place of health. We know if you look at the statistics. Louisiana is ranked terrible in health. The United States basically has some of the worst diet in the world. In Louisiana, it actually ranks like at the top of that as being the worst. But we know we have great people here, and what we want to do is have an opportunity just to put a convenient food and make it make healthy food convenient for people, and just have an opportunity to put that on display. So what we're doing with this is a Hebrew dish, a croquette. If you have not had one, certainly if you take a taste, you definitely will want some more. You'll understand why we came up with the name Craving Croquettes. We're not planning on running a business that's all during the night. You just see my family in here that's still here with me. So we're looking to run a business during the day. And as far as noise, that area, if you're not familiar with it, it's near a train track. I don't think we're gonna be any louder than any train that's coming through there. As far as traffic goes, it'll be just during the day. I know our opposition mentioned they did not get an opportunity to make it to our NPP meeting, and so I got to talk to them after our meeting that we had with the NPC. We talked to them after that meeting, and what they voiced to me their concerns were the noise and traffic. They didn't have any research to show that it would be a detriment to the traffic area, or that it would be a problem or anything of the nature. So what we have is a family-owned business, and we're just looking to establish more family-owned businesses, such as farmers market. Also, we would need a special permit to do that, which you need for any farmers market, but that will give us an opportunity to help them if they are interested. Those are interested, if they're growing organic food and want people to taste it and have a chance at health or healthier food, then what they would do is come out and work with us and be join with us when we actually put on a farmers market, so that people can have access to healthy food. So this is the first project that we're looking to do, but what I just mentioned in the beginning is what we're looking to bring afterwards. That's daycare center, community garden, animal shelter, things of that nature. Because one thing that our opposition mentioned at our last meeting, after the meeting, was about the woods, about the trees being cut down, and he mentioned he didn't want his deer to leave. I said, well, it's actually God's deer, and since I own the property, it would be my deer. But I'm not looking to rid the animals. We're actually looking at a way we can actually have an area where we would have animals, and if children and families wanted to come out, they would be able to see the animals. They would also be able to see food grown, and you'll be able to have a hand in on growing food and learning things of that nature. But this is the first project, Craving Croquettes. And if anyone has any concerns or any thoughts on it, I definitely would like to hear it. I just wanted to share this note. So not trying to be long-winded, but that's my spiel in a nutcase.
Well, thank you for coming down, Mr. Ferris. In the public comment section, we can't ask you questions. We're just here to listen.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But thank you for coming down and letting us know. And maybe if someone has a question for you, they could catch you after the session.
Yes, sir. Definitely catch me after the session, and my contact information is on there. I reached out to a few of the board members as well, so definitely. Thank y'all so much for the time.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Mr. President, before Mr. Ferris, just on a privilege here, we want to thank you for representing Shreveport Caddo Parish very well as a U.S. Olympian weightlifting. And so this is I think we did a resolution for him. I don't know if he came and accepted. I think it was presented on
Yes,
site.
sir.
But I want to thank him for representing our area very well on the national stage. So thank you for your
Yes, sir.
For your
Thankful
service.
for the opportunity to represent worldwide, and I did get what you just recommended. I think
You
the
got put in
date
the
is
Hall of
actually-
Fame last year, right?
Yes, sir.
Olympic Hall of
Well,
Fame.
this past summer, they just recently inducted me into the Hall of Fame, the Olympic Hall of Fame. So you can throw that on there if you like, but to stick to the point of it, hey, we're just family business, and we're only looking to do things of that nature, things that are positive and that will actually bring a positive light on Louisiana, not just the Shreveport-Bossier area, but the entire state. So what better way to start right here? Because we have great people here. This is why I have not moved away from the place. This is why I stay here. This is why my children go to school here. This is why my family is still here. So thank y'all so much for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris.
All right.
All right, I'd like a motion to move back into regular
Motion
session.
to reconvene into regular order.
Okay, we have Commissioner Jackson proposing that we reconvene into regular order. I think Commissioner Gage Watts seconded that by acclamation. Okay, back into regular session. Mr. Clerk?
All right, that brings us to communications and committee reports.
Commissioner Jackson? Nope. Anyone have anything for communication, committee reports? Commissioner Gage Watts.
Just real quick, thank you, Mr. President. Just want to thank the commissioners who had an opportunity to come by the Expungement Summit, and to our administration for helping to get hundreds of our citizens out for their second chance at prosperity. The only problem we had was too many people on site, so that was a good thing. And the folks over at LSU for providing those COVID vaccines on site. And that I wanted to also make sure that the public knew that Commissioner Burrell did not get shot at. He received the vaccine at the Expungement Summit. So thank you to everyone who played a part in making sure that that was a successful event.
And let me apologize for not recognizing your hard work earlier on the Expungement Summit. So thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. I'm sorry I had a full day that day, but thank you for your hard work in getting that set up.
My pleasure.
Okay, Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Along that same lines, too, I was talking to some of the people who were partaking out there of the expungement, and they were really complimentary of the fact that the issues were being explained to them well, and they understood them. And I thought that was very, very important to a community that sometimes don't understand the law. And so they took the time to explain it to them, and all I got was positive feedback, because I knew a lot of the people who were out there, and that was a good thing. And speaking of shots, I made sure that I rolled up my sleeve and didn't bend over, because they were really putting those shots out there. Probably Thursday, I'll probably give you an update on the fairground field situation. They took it to court. They did postpone it, I think, to the 1st of December. And that'll get us past the fair, some things. And also, the mayor's supposed to make an announcement anytime soon about something that's
Did he not make that announcement? He made it.
It may have. He told me Monday, so today is Monday. He did it today? Okay, well, he told us to hold off to Monday, so I told him I wouldn't say anything.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Anybody else?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, thank you all.
I'm just gonna sit right here.